Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Angie Hayes here of Angie Hayes Therapy, and today's video is a relationship-based video, and it's all about a subject that has come up quite frequently lately. I've had a little flurry of people coming in to see me about this particular problem. The worrying thing is they haven't actually recognised what's going on straight away. So what is the problem? Well, to put a label on it, if you like, I'd call it emotional control or emotional blackmail in relationships. But it's very subtle. And it's more sort of manipulative. And believe it or not, most of the clients I've seen that have presented with a problem to me have been male. And this seems to be something that women seem to do quite naturally to get their own way in relationships, consciously or unconsciously, probably unconsciously. And you know, my videos are never here to judge, but they're to educate, and the purpose is always to come from a place of love, education, and just giving a different perspective on things. So I just want to give that perspective today about this particular topic. Why do I think it's more the premise of women? It's not exclusive to women. Men are quite capable of doing it too. But why do I think it's more exclusive to women? I think one of the reasons is, interestingly, in my experience, and I'm not saying I know everything there is to know about relationships, far from it. But in my experience, it's women who more generally want to try and change the man. I think men are far more likely to either think, yeah, I like what I see. There are aspects of her that irritate me, but yeah, she's more or less the complete package. Bump, I'm quite happy with that. Whereas women are more likely to think, oh yeah, he's a project, he's a work in progress, I can work on him. And I think this is where some of this issue comes from. And it may not come out in relationships straight away, but it can start coming out in relationships much later when you've been together for years. And you've lost the spark and you've lost any kind of influence. So you start trying to influence in a different way. All I can tell you is it leaves the other person, the person on the receiving end of the behaviour, feeling utterly stressed out. So let me just say, the men that have been presenting with this to me have been saying things like, I can't do right for doing wrong. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. I feel I'm about to explode. I don't feel I can take on anymore. I don't say anything because I'm frightened of saying the wrong thing. I feel totally stressed out and overwhelmed. And I just feel I can't go on like this. They're feeling soul destroyed. And I know it happens to us girls too. So I'm not just having a go at women today. Just be very, very clear on that. But anyone who's displaying manipulative behaviour, I suppose the most worrying thing for me is that until we start doing a bit of solution-focused questioning, the recipient of the behaviour doesn't necessarily recognise it for what it is and doesn't necessarily recognise that they're being manipulated. They know they're being criticised, but they don't recognise it as manipulation because they're willing to try to do whatever it takes to keep that other person happy. Interesting. Right. So let's start by looking at the behaviour then. What kind of things are we seeing? Right, somebody who is not taking responsibility, it's always your fault. Everything's your fault. They'll come home, they might pick a fight, they might have an argument, they might be in a bad mood and want you to do something for them. Oh, I'm just going straight to bed, you'll have to deal with the kids or whatever. You know, but there's always someone else or something else to blame for bad behaviour. Not acceptable. Sorry, truth bomb. In the world of adults, no matter what's going on with you, you've got to take some responsibility for how you're coming across and how that impacts other people. Yes, you have. This isn't unicorn land now. This is the real world. And if you want a successful relationship, you've got to take your share of the responsibility. You can't blame PMT or an argument with the boss or your brother or mum or dad or anything else. Yeah, you can talk about it for sure, but you can't use it as a weapon to start ordering other people around and making other people run about after you. That's manipulation. Okay, so if you're with somebody who's got some form of addiction, whether it's computer games or it could be drinking, it could be drugs, it could be anything, it could be hoarding, anything, eating disorder, anything, but it's leading to self-destructive behaviours. And the person who is suffering with that problem will blame that for their poor behaviour. This is a tricky one, isn't it? Because whilst they're going through something pretty crappy, when are they going to take some responsibility for dealing with it and getting it fixed? Interesting, isn't it? If they've broken a leg, they go and see a doctor, they go to A&E, but anything like this, oh no, we don't get that sort of thing fixed. We have to put up with it and everyone else around me has to accommodate it. Well, actually, no, they don't. Sorry, another truth bomb, but they don't. You know, I say this a lot. These adult relationships are not conditional. Parent-child are, but not adult relationships. There isn't a condition that that person has to stay with somebody who is not taking responsibility for their own needs and their own self-esteem and their own self-worth. And personality types can come into this too. I do a lot of work with my clients on personality types because they don't realise sometimes how they sabotage themselves with the personality type that is prevalent in them, the stock one, the main ones that they kind of go to and respond with. And you might just be a good-natured person. You might just be somebody who doesn't like confrontation. And therefore, people play on that good nature to control what you do and get you to do stuff for them. And you just don't recognise it as that. Another interesting thing I've seen play out quite a lot is the royal, I call it the royal we. Demanding that tasks get done and around the house. We need to make some time to decorate the bedroom this weekend, meaning you do, meaning I want you to decorate the bedroom, not I'll help you with the prep or I'll help you with the painting or I'll help you with the clearing up. No, we need to do it, but you need to do it. It's your job. I don't have to help you in any way. Doesn't sound good when you put it like that, does it? Another way I see this happening, going back to accommodating other people's needs and not liking conflict, is you get prevented from doing things that you want to do. You know, you might find that you want to go to the gym or you want to go out with your friends, but every time you want to go out, especially more so with friends and to the gym on a regular basis, your partner starts acting up. There seems to be a problem. Something crops up, some argument erupts, and then you don't feel like going out. So just be mindful of that, be wary of it, because it's manipulation. And what can tend to happen is the more this goes on, and I think why people get to a point where they're thoroughly stressed out, is that it gets drip fed, because the more you'll take on board, the more it just gets drip fed and drip fed and drip fed, and you're taking on more tasks and more shizzle. And before you know it, you don't get any time to yourself, but you're meeting all the needs of the other person. Let me just give you a little truth bomb here. You're not responsible for the other person's happiness. You're not responsible for your partner's happiness, and they're not responsible for yours. But at the moment, if you're seeing these behaviours displayed, that responsibility is being placed on you for that person's happiness, and everything you do and everything you say has to be the way it has to be, otherwise they won't be happy. So it's no wonder you're feeling stressed out, because you can't possibly take on that responsibility. It's not possible. It's just not possible. So for any of you who are watching who may be acting out those behaviours, I just want to ask you a question then. I want you to think about this for a moment. What sort of partner do you actually want? Because if you're doing this to get your own way, there is most certainly something on some level playing out with your sense of self-worth or your level of insecurity to feel that you have to make another person responsible for your happiness, and you can't take that responsibility on board yourself. But do you really think constant arguing and constantly being on your partner's case constitutes a good relationship? Do you really? Because remember what I said earlier about relationships not being conditional. They're not. No partner has to stay with you and endure that. They don't. Simple as that. They don't have to endure it. What sort of partner do you want? If you're a woman, do you want a provider, a protector, or do you want an equal partner? Because if you want the provider, yeah, they offer security, don't they? But they may not offer happiness. The protector can offer you security in a totally different way, but they're not going to offer you happiness and fulfillment, because some of that has to come from you. Equal partnership, what's all that about? For me, an equal partnership is being aware that the needs of the other person are equally as important as your own. It's not all about you. Not all about what you need. What does your partner need as well? Where's the compromise? Where's the balance in this? And equal partnerships aren't always about doing the decorating together, doing everything together. They're about people playing to their strengths. So maybe that's fine if one of you goes off and does the decorating while the other does something else that's helpful and reasonable. Playing to strengths is not a problem. It's when it becomes a situation where another person is commanding that you do that and not playing any part in it that we start to have an issue. Maybe your parents or somebody around you taught you that it was okay to do this, because we learn a hell of a lot of this stuff from our parents. We really do. And if we don't have great role model relationships, we just think that's the way relationships are. We don't realize that we can actually throw that model away and make our own model of what a good relationship looks like. So the first step is to ask yourself, is this making you happy? Recognize whether this makes you happy or not. And if it doesn't, think about what sort of partner you want. Are you with a partner who is an equal partner? Is an equal partner what you want? Or if you want something different, then you need to accept the fact that you're not going to get certain other things. With every choice you make, there's always a consequence. And if you're, I like my alpha male provider or protector, or I like a woman that mothers me and does everything for me, you might not respect her because she just lets you have all your own way. But you need her. The fact that you need that, I'll go back, suggests that there's some underlying insecurity playing out with you. Do you want to address that? Do you want to help with that? Do you want to explore that in any way? Will that help you to feel more fulfilled? Only you can answer those questions, my darlings. I can't answer those questions for you. So recognize, choose to do something about it. Seek help if you want to. Confide in someone. Is this going to get you the happy and fulfilling life that you want? I like to think of this. I like people to think of this as having a recurring horrible headache. Yeah, and you know the headaches, the recurring headaches, are because you're not getting enough sleep. But every time you get a headache, what do? You pop a paracetamol or an ibuprofen or whatever it is that you like to take. It's the quick and the easy solution, isn't it? Get the other person to do what I want, and then I don't have to work on myself. Yeah, but if you actually dealt with the underlying sleep issue, you wouldn't need to keep taking the tablets, would you? But you see, it's hard. It's hard, isn't it, to do that, because it takes effort. And we humans hate effort, we hate change. No work, no change. It's as simple as that. So if you've had a light bulb in watching this about the way you're being treated, the only thing I can say to you is, if you change nothing, nothing will change. And sadly, that is the truth of the matter. Do you want to endure this, or do you want to work through a strategy that will help and support you to deal with it? What type of partner do you want to be with? You know, we hate change, we do find it difficult, but let me tell you now, you have everything within you that you need, all of the resources and the courage and the resilience to be able to face into making changes. And one of those first things that you could do is a simple exercise for me, okay? Just a simple exercise. Get a nice big A3 sheet of paper, and I want you to split it into 3 columns. And in the first column, I want you to write down all of the attributes, qualities, characteristics of your ideal partner. What is this person like? Not what they look like, but how do they behave? What qualities have they got? What values? Do they respect you? Do they show trust? Is trust important to them, or as important to them as it is to you? All of those important facets of that person. Then in the second column, I want you to write down how, for each of those characteristics and qualities, a person would demonstrate that. Because, you know, when you're looking at kindness or generosity, that means different things to different people. Generosity could be buying flowers every week for some people. Generosity for me would be recognizing when I need help and stepping in and giving up some of your valuable time. That to me would be generous. We're all different in how we perceive generosity or anything. So how would that be demonstrated? And then the third column, and this is a difficult one, I think, is, are you getting that from your current partner? Are they demonstrating those qualities to you? You know, because if they're not, then you have a decision to make, don't you? You either continue with things as they are, or you get the hell out and move on. And you might just need some support with that. You might not. But you cannot possibly become the nucleus of another person's world. If they want to be happy, thriving, and have a compelling future, they are responsible for it, just as you are responsible for yours. You cannot take that responsibility on for another person. Even a person with a disability has a sense of what is best for them. You know, you should never assume that the help you give a vulnerable or disabled person is the right help. You should always ask them what help they need. And this is no different. You shouldn't assume that you are the answer to everything, because that's why you're getting the hell bloody stressed out. And you are being manipulated, my little loves. And that's not good. That's not a good place to be. If a person needs to manipulate you, do they really care about you? Do they really care about your needs? Are you of real value to them if they constantly want to change you into something that you're not? So I will leave you with those final thoughts. I hope this has been a benefit. I hope it's set off a few light bulb moments for some of you. And just know that the support is out there if you need it. If you feel you want to make changes but you're not ready, as always, I will hold space for you. Take very good care, my little loves. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.